The competition's obviously extremely high in the Premier League, but now he's got winners all around him. He's managed by someone who has won everywhere he's gone. So that has to be infectious. That has to raise your overall confidence, especially with how he started.
Well, we mentioned Napoli, they've done some decent business, haven't they, over the summer? They obviously kept Antonio Conte, which was one of the biggest things. And here's just a reminder of the players that they brought in, because we talked about the impact that three of them have had today. Kevin De Bruyne, Rasmus Højlund and Sam Beukema as well. Debuts for Højlund and Beukema, who had to wait his turn to get in this. But could you easily or comfortably say that they had the best transfer window, Marco, in Serie A?
Yeah, them, and we've given a shout out to Como as well, because they've done phenomenal business. But for me, it's absolutely Napoli. And I think great teams come from being well-run clubs, and De Laurentiis understood this. He got Manna, who was from Juventus at first, and they did their business early. A lot of these signings, they understood, they identified number one, they knew what profiles they needed. They went after the best profile that they could possibly go for, and then even when there was an injury, they acted extremely quick upon that injury. And we saw it tonight, the instant impact of these players. And yes, you could say, oh, it's only one game, but you could understand just from their movements, from their qualities, what they're going to add to this side.
This is the one with Højlund getting in. We haven't seen him be this dangerous for Manchester United in a year, and now he's just spinning in the first touch of the game. He's in behind, in between the goals, narrow, and scoring goals, and that's what you want to see as a dream star. Plus, his hold-up play was fantastic on the day as well. You see him running into space here, 1v1, the patience. He almost gets his shot off in this one, ends up going back to De Bruyne and forcing De Gea to make a fantastic save, but they were fantastic. This is Beukema.
What a ball.
By the way, his highlights were defensively. He kept everyone quiet, and this was just a goal, the cherry on top of things for the big center back.
Yeah, and I love those runs from Højlund. There was a few others that we didn't see where he just looked big and fast and technical and confident. And I think that goes to show you just Conte, the atmosphere that he creates, his legendarily difficult summer training sessions, which Højlund obviously wasn't there for the whole summer, but still, he would have seen the culture that Conte is trying to grow. I mean, we've heard it, Marco, you were telling us that, you know, what Beukema might have experienced in the summer. We've heard this from so many players, from Christian Vieri, just the horror stories they'd hear from their friends who played under Conte, saying, guys, I don't know if I can do this. I think I might physically break. But he gets you in a state where you feel like it's us against the world, and you know you're going to physically be better than any one of your opponents, because he really does this more intensely than any other manager. So there's something to be said about that.
And maybe as well, he's looking at the likes of Scott McTominay, who obviously came last season, and no one would have really thought that he would come into the league and have such a crazy impact that he had, and then become the league MVP. And he also had a nice glow up, didn't he, in Naples? He's enjoying the Italian lifestyle. Let's have a look at some pictures, shall we? Is this what Italy does to you boys?
Hey. Look at this. The sun. That's what we have. The hair,
fashion,
the way he dressed.
Straight out of the Mike Grella closet.
That's high level there on the right.
Skin,
That was nice. Looks like the suits you wear, Brunello, Cucinelli.
What are you guys doing in England? Why does he look like that compared to now? Come on, Pop.
I don't know.
Save your voice.
Beans and toast on the left, on the right, sopressata and mortadella. That's why.
This is a crazy one already, isn't it?
That is incredible.
I mean, these look like they're taken years apart, not just a couple of months apart.
Look what's behind him. You got the Vesuvio, you got the Mare, you got the blue sky.
He's getting sun.
It doesn't rain.
You don't get sun in Manchester.
You kidding me?
It's always overcast and rainy.
You know what my friends say from Napoli? They say you cry twice when you go to Napoli. When you go and when you leave, because Napoli is that beautiful of a place.
He's had a few highlights.
When you arrive and when you leave.
Did I say it wrong?
No, just to be more.
He's eating banoffee pies. Like, what do you expect? You go to.
I love banoffee pie.
What is it?
But look at what he's eating now.
Bananas, cream, biscuit, all mixed together.
He's having a Marzano tomato. He's having fresh food from the land. It's just.
It's true. It makes you feel good.
The sea salt as well, hydrating your skin.
Yeah.
He looks great.
Gotta go outside more.
He looked great before. They all look great. I loved all those photos.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good.
HR just whisper in your ear, or what?
I was a fan of all the looks. Just saying.
Especially the Wimbledon one. And that was on English soil, so
high level.
He's had a big glow up. What about Milinković-Savić then? Because he's another one that we haven't really had the chance.
We have a glow up of him. We're still waiting.
It's harder to glow him up, I think.
He looks like a Viking.
You're intimidating, in fairness.
These were, by the way, these were big saves at the end of the game. I know, yeah, all right, the first goal, Ranieri scores again, but that save, and then take a look at this one, because Fiorentina came to life, and Napoli were playing dead for a little while at the end. These are two big ones to make sure that, 3 points and not concede those 2 goals. So we knew he was a really good signing for them as well. But important, I asked the question of the triangle of Buongiorno, Boukema, and Milinković-Savić in the beginning of the game, and we got the answer. They look like they've been playing together for years. They were fantastic.
They've tried to replace Meret a few times. Remember, they had David Ospina, and Ospina was playing more games. And then when Ospina left, they're like, oh, we have to find a true starter for Meret. And they ended up keeping Meret, right? Because maybe they just didn't find the right profile goalkeeper. He won the Scudetto. That was the first year under Luciano Spalletti, and that obviously gave him confidence. But it's always felt like there's been, on the back of their minds, even now Conte is like, let's get Vanja. And you don't spend 15, 20 million euro for a backup goalkeeper.
It's a big debate in the Napoli community on who's the better goalkeeper. I argue it everywhere I go. I think that Vanja will become the starter. I think that he is just such a high level of goalkeeper. He gives you the ability to make saves that he probably shouldn't make. Meret is a good goalkeeper. He's a very good goalkeeper. Is he a top goalkeeper? I'm not too sure about that, but it's a good problem. And this, again, shows the quality of club that Napoli is becoming, because all the best teams in the world, they have this sort of debate, and Napoli has it now.
2 Scudetti and the least goals conceded in last season's Scudetto as well. You can't take anything away from him.
And a great defense.
Good problem to have, though, isn't it, for Antonio
Do you remember
Conte?
the Milan goalkeeper when they had Maldini, Baresi, Tassotti? Remember Rossi? No one talks about him.
And that's true. But you can't take that away from him either.
But in the grand scheme of things, a really good start to the season. At the top of the Serie A table, Juventus in second place, also with 9 points, but just 1 goal difference as well. And Cremonese, Matteo, who would have thought?
With a game in hand, Poppy. Game in hand with big Buschirotto tomorrow.
And Vardy's there now, too.
Jamie Vardy leading the line.
Wow.
Can they dream?
Could they?
Another Leicester?
Dream of what? Not getting relegated.
A little bit more.
Believe.
A little bit more.
I'll remind you guys, last season Empoli was there in the top 4 through like 4 or 5 weeks.
But they don't have Jamie
Udinese too, a
Vardy,
couple
they don't
years
have
ago.
the brawn of Buschirotto.
And
They
the
don't
season
have,
before it's
Davide Nicola.
Sassuolo as well. Yeah, that's true. I mean, has anyone got Cremonese going down?
Not anymore.
They all have
Not
them
anymore.
going down.
I don't think I did. Maybe. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
but did you blindfold just throw darts at it?
Maybe.
It was better
You
than
had
your
Milan
picks.
winning the Scudetto too.
Yeah, okay.
It was more like with a glass of wine in Spain, and it was more like that, throwing darts. Like he was going like this, drinking wine and throwing darts.
You all might be laughing at the end. I just wanted to pick a different Scudetto
Remind them
winner.
of their predictions.
By the
already.
way, who have you gone for to win the Scudetto, and are you changing
Here we
it?
go. Oh, what am I supposed to be, Nostradamus on the show? We only have one Nostradamus here. He picks 10 teams, and when one of them wins, then he tells you that's a team he
Inter to
picked.
win the Scudetto.
He picked Inter to win the Scudetto last season
When
and
the
then
transfer market
celebrated.
ends, you have to adjust. They didn't sign McTominay. They didn't sign.
Yeah, all our
Lukaku.
predictions, by the way, were before the transfer market, but that's not to make excuses. It's impossible to predict it. I mean, anyone sitting at home now, even after 3 games, you think you have a slightly better idea, but to say that Inter's out of the Scudetto race is crazy.
Yeah.
Serie A is very unpredictable this year. I have to say, every team has courage. Even last week, Udinese. You watch Udinese at San Siro a couple of years ago to go up against a team that was in the Champions League final. Would they be able to get back into the games? I see that from the smaller teams. I see that even from Pisa when Pisa's played in their matches. It's phenomenal. We're really, really lucky. And as I know we want to joke after just not even match day 3 is over, but it's difficult.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? How do you think, though, Matteo, Napoli's going to do in the Champions League this week against Manchester City? Because on paper, a couple of years ago, you would have thought, OK, well, Manchester City are the clear favourites in this. But now it feels like not that much, right?
I have so much hope in Napoli. I think they're going to go to City, and we know what Conte is going to do, right? He's going to be conservative. He's going to stay back. He'll probably start Rasmus Højlund and just play on the counter through him. Now, what's interesting is Højlund going back to a Premier League ground that he knows very well, places where he didn't have as much success. Will he revert back, or is it just because he's now in a new team? Right? The competition's obviously extremely high in the Premier League, but now he's got winners all around him. He's managed by someone who has won everywhere he's gone. So that has to be infectious. That has to raise your overall confidence, especially with how he started. I don't think they'll have much more than 35% of the ball, but the way they defend and having Boukema, Buongiorno, Rachmani, the defense that these guys have, I have full faith that they can go there and get a result. It doesn't have to be a win, but they'll keep it low scoring. I could see a 0-0, 1-1, low-scoring game.
But also tactically, if we talk about Højlund, it's a perfect game for him because he's got the speed, he's got the runs in behind. We saw it even today already. When Manchester City, as we know, then they've been exposed already so far in the Premier League in the first games, they go up. It's going to be a perfect game, I think, for Rasmus Højlund. It's a great match for him. I completely agree. I see Napoli at least just getting a result, at least. And I think that this is Conte's time to prove that in Champions League, with a very different format, he's never experienced this format before, to try to put some of the doubters, because in his experience it's not been good, but then in the end, he is not like Simone Inzaghi. He's not going to try to grab everything. He'll decide if it's too much, but I think he feels like this team can do something, and I think Napoli can do something. They're the only Italian team that I believe can go far in Champions League.
Conte's Inter, the year they won the Scudetto, they finished 4th in their Champions League group stage, and they didn't advance out of the group stage. With Juventus, they could never go all the way, and he said, I'm going to a €100 restaurant with a €10 note. And then, in fairness, Max Allegri took them to the Champions League final twice and lost against better teams from La Liga. So that is the one stain. If you have to look at his career and say, right, where's the area where we haven't seen that consistency? It's Conte in Europe.
It will be interesting to see because Napoli haven't faced anyone like Haaland that plays in the front. They haven't faced anyone that will play at the pace of play that Manchester City will play with. But the game also sets up very nicely for them. Like Marco says, Manchester City have been shooting themselves in the foot with giving away their own balls in the midfield and then getting counterattack with the back line stretched all over the place. They love to fly and go close balls down. Antonio Conte will be well prepared for the match. His team is already set up that way. When they won the Scudetto last season, they didn't have a lot of possession. In fact, they were, I think, like 8th or 9th in the possession. So they won't have possession, but that won't bother them. They'll be okay with that. Good on set pieces, organized. So the game sets up nice. The only thing is it's away from home against Manchester City again, so it's not an easy one.
You better pray they don't get a result. I'm going to be texting you the whole time.
Well, you'll be together, right? You're going to be here.
I would love nothing more than to see Napoli get a result against Manchester City in the Champions League.
And they're going to do it beautifully.